Alright, now one of the places that I'm gang stalked is as I exit my driveway. Now I want you to notice a neighbor pulled into a driveway. That's a gang stalking pattern. I want you to notice a person is passing by. That's a gang stalking pattern. Now today, what they do is gang stalk in multicolors, in white, in black, in red, in blue, in yellow, but the patterns stay the same. And the pattern is that a neighbor will pull in or out of their driveway as I come out of my driveway, or a person will walk in front of or in back of my car. Those are the gang stalking patterns. All right, you'll notice that a white car is coming down the street. That's a gang stalking pattern. All right, so these are gang stalking patterns that I have seen since the beginning of my gang stalking, which was now you see another car. What they do is they've radicalized my neighbors. My neighbors gang stalk on my entries and exits. Normally, if you would walk down the street, what you would see is an empty street. But when I come out of my driveway, that's when my gang stalking begins. This is called mobbing. You won't read a lot about mobbing in the United States unless you're looking in professional journals, especially having to do with the workplace, because the government gang stalks. So they're not going to give a lot of attention to mobbing. But if you look on the internet, what you will see is an awful lot of mobbing in Europe, because this is actually happening in all NATO countries. All right, so that someone across the street is going into their house as I'm backing out of my driveway. These are all gang stalking patterns. This is what mobbing looks like. This is what mobbing looks like. At first, for 9 years, they gang stalked in red. But then, when I had 200,000 views on my YouTube channel, they added black. May 29th, 2015. 2 months later in July, they added gang stalking in white. Then I said on Facebook how much I liked the movie Take Me Home, which included a yellow cab. I started seeing yellow cabs every day. Before that, I'd see them maybe once every 2 months. And they started gang stalking in yellow. Then they started gang stalking in blue. Now I just say that, you know, these are this is fascism. And if you go to my website, you will see 14 signs of fascism. The United States conforms to all 14. George Bush and Dick Cheney wanted to start something called Operation Tips. Congress recognized its fascist nature and said, no, you're not going to do that in the United States. You're not going to have a nation of spies. So what they did, under the secrecy of the state secret doctrine, they formed government gang stalking. They radicalized our neighborhood watch groups, our police, our firemen, our security guards. They all gang stalk. So what you are seeing is a corrupt American society. In Operation Tips, they wanted to get 4% of the country engaged in Operation Tips. At least 4% of your neighbors are gang stalking. Right? So that this is what they're doing. I would say at least 4%. You can see now, you see an awful lot of my neighbors going into their driveways. Normally when you come on the street, it's completely empty for hours at a time. But my neighbors gang stalk. I'm not going to tell you how many, because I'm not going to name them. But all I'm going to say is they get your neighbors to gang stalk, they get people in the neighborhood to gang stalk. All right, now I'm going to the next phase of where I get gang stalking, which is when I leave my street. But for now, I'm going to close. You just saw how I'm gang stalked when I leave my driveway. You saw the government gang stalking patterns. They have neighbors driving in and out of their driveway. In other words, gang stalking, U.S. government gang stalking, takes place in the context of everyday behavior, but it's mobbing. It's getting a mob of people to constantly stalk you when you come out of your house. Can you imagine that?